Here's the big question everyone's been asking me. Should I buy the Solbello Shade or should I buy the ShadeSock? It really is a good question because despite being the same kind of beach shade, they're so different. Well, I spent 3 days with both of these wind-hungry beach shades to figure out which one I like the best. And to make things even more interesting, I even tossed in the new Jobean in the mix on day 3. The wind was all over the place on the first day, and I decided to set up the ShadeSock first because I knew this setup was going to be a little bit more involved. The base pole sets up like a beach umbrella with a sand screw. Just use the handles to twist it down clockwise until you hit the sand line. But setting up the shade is a little bit more involved. You first want to slide the 4 poles into the sleeves and connect them in the middle with this H bracket. Next, you slide the U brackets to the end of the poles and attach the buckles around them. Then attach the top pole to the base pole and connect the shade through the top pole and secure it. Now the Solbello likens itself to a beach umbrella, and it's just as easy to set up, taking about the same amount of time. But once you set them up, neither of these guys looks like your grandma's beach umbrella. Oh yeah, big thanks to Solbello and Jobean for sending me their beach shades to test out and show you. Now both of these beach shades have a really cool feature. They self-adjust when the wind shifts. They performed well when the breeze exceeded 3 miles per hour, but the Solbello shade started to struggle when Mother Nature eased back on the wind throttle. Just as I was about to use the low wind kits, the breeze picked up again. The quiet edge material on the new Solbello is quieter than the original, but it still makes that flapping flag sound. And the ShadeSock? Well, not a peep. It's made from 7 long wind socks sewn together, so it catches more wind than it releases, and it does it silently. Now the new Solbello comes in 3 colors, and I swapped out the classic blue with the new coral color, which kind of looks like salmon. Okay, now the beach is really noisy today with people, boats, waves, and birds, but I want to know if you can hear a difference between the older Solbello canopy and the new quiet edge Solbello. I'm going to turn down my theme song so you can listen. Okay, here's the older Solbello. And here's the newer Solbello with the quiet edge fabric. Do you hear a difference? Let me know in the comments down below. As I'm sure you've noticed, you also get more shade with the ShadeSock. My measurements came to 9 feet 4 inches by 7 feet 4 inches, compared to the 7 foot 9 inches by 7 foot 9 inches for the Solbello. So the ShadeSock is about 1.5 feet longer. But the ShadeSock did seem to be more wind sensitive. It did seem to sway more from side to side, although I figured out a way to fix that on day 3. Now packing up the Solbello is easy. It takes you less than a minute to break it down and get it all in the carrying sleeve. The ShadeSock did take me longer to pack up, mostly because I had trouble removing the brackets from the poles. Quick tip, I know you're at the beach and the sand is everywhere, but try to wipe the sand off the poles and clear out the sand from inside the brackets before putting them together. It'll definitely save you a headache later on. I first used a no-wind kit a few years ago when I reviewed the Solbello Shade. It worked fine, but honestly, if there's no wind at all, I'd rather just set up a traditional beach umbrella. On day 2 of testing, I planned on using the no-wind kits because there was no breeze. But once I made the decision, a slight breeze picked up, but I stuck with the plan anyway. Both of these no-wind kits work the same. There's 2 stretchy lines that run from the trailing edge of the shade down to twist stakes anchored in the sand. It's a clever solution for staying shaded when the wind isn't cooperating. It also saves you from embarrassment when your folks stop by to see what you're up to and you end up smothering them with a limp beach shade. Eventually, I did remove the no-wind kits because the breeze picked up and the wind kept shifting. And all the sunshades along the beach were struggling with wind changes, except for these 2 guys. They just went with the flow. Oh yeah, I did also switch back to the classic blue shade. Why? Well, it's simple. I just like it better. Hey, if you find this video helpful, please do me a favor, hit that like button, and thank you so much for subscribing. I really appreciate you being a part of my beach gear guy community. Now, I like sitting under both of these beach shades, but between the 2, I prefer lounging under the ShadeSock because it's like a cloud floating above you, silent, effortless, almost invisible. You just forget it's there. It's kind of weird, but in a good way. Now, the ShadeSock claims you get double the barrier of sun protection. Why is that? Well, both shades provide UPF 50+ sun protection, but the ShadeSock offers 2 layers. What do you think of that? Okay, on to day 3. I wanted to do a proper wind test. Now, I already tested the Solbello in high winds in a previous video, so it was time to see what the ShadeSock could do. The wind shifted again, and I had to go way down the beach where it was coming from the west. Normally, not a big deal, but it was high tide, and I had to go on a bit of a rocky adventure to get there. The things I do for my Beach Gear Guy reviews. But really, thanks again for supporting my channel, it means a lot. After dodging a weird jellyfish and getting some unexpected cardio, I arrived, only to find a pretty underwhelming breeze. But I went ahead and set up the ShadeSock with the wind support kit anyway, just in case the wind decided to come back. Oh, remember when I mentioned you can reduce the side-to-side swaying of the ShadeSock? Well, that's where this little rubber washer comes into play. I didn't mess with it earlier because I assumed it was a part of the high wind support kit, but it's actually designed to help keep the shade from moving around so much. Now, it doesn't completely stop the sway, and honestly, you don't want to do that because the whole point of a self-adjusting beach shade is that it moves with the wind. But the washer does cut down on the side-to-side motion, and it's super easy to install. Now, the high wind kit is also easy to set up. First, you fill up the shade bag with rocks or sand, slide the blue line up the pole and tighten it, and then attach the other end of the line to the weighted bag. And that's it. And then I waited for the wind. And I waited. Eventually, I gave up, packed up, and headed back to where I started. And when I got there, the wind picked up again. I thought it might get overpowered since it catches more wind than it releases, but it actually held up great in gusts over 20 miles per hour. Now, just for fun, I set up the Jobean's new quiet canopy right next to the ShadeSock. They sent it to me to test out, and I'm working on this epic Jobean comparison video right now. So if you're not subscribed, hit that button so you don't miss out. Now, I have another Jobean that I tested out on some crazy windy days, and I'm pretty sure it's indestructible. Now, there's a few things I like about the Jobean, including that it's really portable, and you can shade up to 4 and even 5 people on beach chairs. But you will have to reposition your Jobean when the breeze changes directions. And that's the beauty of the Solbello Shade and the ShadeSock. When the wind changes, they self-adjust for you. Now, out of curiosity, I disconnected the high wind line from the ShadeSock just to see how it would hold up on its own. And at first, it seemed fine. But then I noticed the aluminum pole start to bend a little bit, and I thought, maybe I'm pushing my luck. So, what do these wind-hungry beach shades actually cost? Right now, on Amazon, as I speak into this microphone to you, the Solbello is going for around $150, and the ShadeSock is going for about $280. So the Solbello shade wins on price and portability. It's half the weight and much less bulky. It's also easier to set up and pack down. But between the two, I prefer sitting under the ShadeSock. Once it's set up, it just disappears. It floats above you like a quiet, happy cloud. Check out this video for more beach shade reviews, and I hope you take it easy at the beach.